Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. Good afternoon, good evening. It doesn't matter what time it is. Just know this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Why? Because God is good. He's good all the time. Duh. All right. Before we get into this, let me start everything off. You know what I'm saying? I gotta send out my invites. I gotta mother freaking notify. You know what I'm saying? People so that way they could come in. As always, well, not as always, but what I've recently started doing, is the same time that I stream for motherfucking YouTube or Twitter space, I'm also streaming live for YouTube. And so I'm running them neck and neck, kind of saves me some time. However, if y'all give me a second, let me send out these invites, okay? And yeah. We'll get started, but as we motherfucking wait, we can listen to music, because that's what I do. Listen to music. If I'm not talking to Jesus, I'm not reading the Bible, I'm not praying, I'm not talking to my wife, my mama, you know what I'm saying? I'm listening to music. Majority of the time, second to Jesus and my wife, listening to music. So, listen to music with me, baby, vibe it out.
Let's journey up the road. Ain't gotta take it slow. You know that I don't want no one else. I put my pride aside. I traded this on life. Just for one night. Just for one night. It's like heaven. Ooh, feels like heaven when I'm with you. It's like heaven. Ooh, feels like heaven when I'm with you. It's more than a thrill. I'm following what's real. And don't get mad when they don't understand. Love you like the tide. Pull you close at night. And I won't let all these waves knock us down. I put my pride aside. I traded this on life. Just for one night. Just for one night. It's like heaven. Ooh, feels like heaven when I'm with you. It's like heaven. Ooh, just like heaven when I'm with you.
All right. All right, so we're gonna get motherfucking started. Now, I know it's a little misleading. It's a little misleading. Give me a second, y'all. Doo-doo. Hey, we back in there. But I know it's a little misleading from the title. It not necessarily misleading. I mean, it could be misleading, you know what I'm saying, if you don't have very good reading comprehension. But at the end of the day, it does have a bit of a duplicitous meaning to it, if you know what I'm saying. Where this title, I can't stand weak mentality. Is the fact of the matter is that there's this weak mentality. Men want to say that they created the world. Everything functions the way it functions because of them, even though I know that's not true, because there's a lot of things in this world that women and children have contributed to. However, because these, under these circumstances, these jokers want to say these things, I'm not going to knock them for saying it. You know what I'm saying? You're entitled to your opinion, no matter how taboo, no matter how ignorant it comes off to me. You know what I'm saying? No matter how motherfreaking imaginative it is. It's like, wow, your brain work like that. Despite all that, you're entitled to your opinion. The thing is that this weak mentality or state of mind, mens rea, if you look at through the Latin lens, you know what I'm saying? Mens rea, but it's a state of mind that has been programmed throughout society to the point where it is not uncommon for women to share these very, very, very restricting, you know what I'm saying, and limiting motherfreaking views. And the sad part about it is that they hold on to these ideologies, these perspectives, and it's harmful to themselves. I mean, have any of y'all ever watched Housewives or Housemaids, motherfreaking Handmaid, right? You have women going along with that oppressive state, no matter how motherfreaking harmful it was to women. Girls, females cannot motherfreaking read, even though it's a fictional world. Some of y'all mindset live in the fictional land. So I'm trying to meet you where you at, right? In Handmaid, you got these women that were supporting these mindsets, these motherfreaking ideologies. They was going along with creating this motherfreaking country into having this very oppressive take to it that was like not even harmful to themselves, but to other females. Where you can get your hand chopped off and you can get your eyeballs removed and all this other stuff. You can get your lips sewn together because you are placed in this state of inferiority. And it's this thing that has been trickled down through society. And honestly, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it because it's like, it's not fun. It's not fun. On top of it, the fact that it's harmful, you know what I'm saying? It's very detrimental to my being. You know what I'm saying? And the other female being. However, the truth of the matter is the fact that it's not fun, right? Being a woman is showing up in these spaces that is predominantly male, heavily populated by male, they're not even like eliminating you on your intelligence or lack thereof. They're not eliminating you on foundational reasons. They're eliminating you for baseless reasons. And it trickles down to the fact that you're a female, or they add on to something else that stems from your intersectionality. Maybe it's not the fact that you're a female, but you don't come from an enfranchised group. You don't come from the motherfreaking the top. You know what I'm saying? You go at the bottom. And so this is what these people do. It's like, okay, you don't attack me for not only for me being a woman, but you're attacking me, you know what I'm saying, because of my sexuality or the way I look. You don't view me woman enough. And this is the thing that really gets me, right, is the fact that I could sit here and say that there's no even playing field. However, the truth of the matter, when is there ever an even playing field? There's literally hardly ever an even playing field when it comes to motherfreaking people in power or people in general. There's never one. There's no even playing field. But the thing that gets me is people spew their rhetoric as if they know full blown, they say it with so much conviction. Yes, this is the way things were. It's always been like this. This is how it is. And it's okay, I'm trying to respect your boundaries because you are entitled to your opinions, no matter how flawed they are. I know it's based on limited evidentiary support. However, The truth of the matter is, I'm trying to respect your boundaries here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to poop on the fact that you get to spew your nonsense. You know what I'm saying? The thing that gets me is like, educate yourself a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Educate yourself just a little bit. So that way, when you make these like very, very ostracizing claims, you know, it's not just coming off as you trying to insult a person just out of the fact that you are a bigot. You don't agree with their lifestyle. You don't agree with them. You don't agree with how they look, how they present themselves, or what have you. Whatever it is that mother freaking got you down to that mother freaking logic that you spewing, you can have it. It's just, why does it have to be narrowed down to insults? Let me tell you something. Most people overlook the fact. We're going to get to these insults. We're going to get to these insults. Trust and believe me. But people overlook the fact that history has shown us time and time again that humans change, my niggas. Humans. Life. This thing that we call life. There's this concept that exists, and it's called change. It happens whether you want it or not. It's niggas. We ain't got no control over it. None at all. However, you cannot sit here and say this is how things always been. That's just false. Anything that you say outside of your mouth after that, nigga, I'm not taking it as logical. I'm not taking it as factual. Hell, I'm not even taking it as credible. It's just, nigga, you could put that in a magazine and turn it into, you know, some fantasy. Yeah? You know what I'm saying? It's not real, because humans change. Life consists of mother freaking change. Let me hit some of you ignorant niggas who think that women has always been at the bottom of the totem pole. Women has always had this inferiority status. The same niggas who always think, you know what I say, they push this, well, heterosexuality has always been the dominant sexual, preference. Okay. Life change. Change happens. People change. Change is inevitable. Let me tell you something. I know a lot of y'all don't like to read, but let me direct you to some reading material that could be very, very, very beneficial to you. Let me tell you something, right? There's this book called Sexuality by Stephen Seidman, S-E-I-D-M-A-N. Stephen Seidman. I might be pronouncing his name wrong, but that's how it's coming together for me. This nigga wrote a book called Sexuality. In his book, he breaks down the historical context of sexuality. And he mentions in there dating back to the Victorian era. Now, when it comes to history, you know what I'm saying, as in the dates and all that wonderful jazz, it's hard to keep up with. But one of the things that I could tell you about mother freaking knowledge in general is that there's always something that you could always come back and reference off of. The Victorian era, let me tell you when that little period was. It was from June 20th of 1837 to January 22nd, 1901. That's according to mother freaking Google. It's according to Google. Now, I'm going to be kind and show you all this, you know what I'm saying, so you can see what I'm talking about. All right? Look at that. The Victorian era. Okay? Now, during the Victorian era, let me hip y'all on to something, because you got these people who want to be like, heterosexuality has been the main, it's been the norm, sexual preference forever. No, it hasn't. During the Victorian era, which we see from 1837 to about 1901, heterosexuality was actually deemed a mental illness. It was placed into the DSM. Now, currently, I believe we about 5, maybe 6, you know what I'm saying, somewhere around that. This is the previous one. We looking at probably like, what, number 2? Somewhere around there. The DSM, heterosexuality, was literally labeled as a mental illness. Equivalent to how you people love to say, and when I say you people, it's you mother freaking bigots who mother freaking don't like somebody's life. You don't like somebody. You don't like something about somebody. And then you try to make it seem like you above them because you're different and your difference is above theirs. No, nigga. You're just a bigot. You the people I'm talking about. You bigots. You people sit here and talk about heterosexuality has been the main preference. No, it hasn't. Let me tell you something. Heterosexuality was viewed just as taboo as homosexuality during the Victorian era. What was considered the norm was getting married, getting eloped, 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 nigga, tying the knot, jumping the broom, however you want them out to freaking put it. It's getting married, my nigga. And when you get married, you procreate, you have sexual intercourse with your spouse to procreate and make a baby. But guess what this sexual intercourse looked like? It wasn't all this finger play. It wasn't sticking fingers up buttholes, because actually, if you look at a lot of you people, a lot of y'all states, mother freaking penal laws, mother freaking penal code, you'll see historically sodomy was illegal. Sticking fingers at buttholes, going up vagina holes with anything other than a penis in that very position that most people don't like, missionary. That it was considered the norm. A man and a woman coming together, eloping, having sexual intercourse through the method called missionary, solely to procreate. Sex wasn't for nobody's sexual benefit. No, because, men historically has been in power. And we ain't gonna say all men, because even though there has been some change and you had different peoples that held positions of power, a lot of us has been motherfucking oppressed. If you poor, generations of poor, nigga, you ain't had no power. So you a man, but you ain't rich. You ain't from a rich generation, nigga. I ain't talking about you. You ain't the man to talk about. But the men in power, of course, the people in power, just like they do currently, right? They write laws and they make things illegal, where it seems like the only person that are obliged to uphold those laws is us poor citizens, us regular folks, the GP, the general population, those that make up the majority of those that are here. Not that tiny percentage of rich people. Not these aristocrats, not these bureaucrats. You know what I'm saying? None of them. None of them. None of these ugly arcs. None of these niggas. It's us, the little people, the poor people. It's us that these laws are governed. So these people do as they please. They can kill. They can sodomize people. They can mother freaking incest. They can mother freaking practice pedophilia, fornicate, all types of wild stuff. Who's going to hold them accountable when they are the law? You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, sex was literally, it was not to please you poor niggas. It was to procreate so that way you will make more bodies to work on the niggas' property, lands, corporations in these private sectors, so you can contribute to their profit. Nigga, they could care less about you because they're going to replace you with somebody else's child. But you got people out here want to sit here and push themselves as if they're superior to the next. Nigga, we all broke. We all GP. According to the United States data, over 90% of the population are poor. Nigga, you sitting here trying to put on the front talking about you ain't poor. You are. You're the very 90%, over 90%. And that's just being generous. But we're going to continue. Heterosexuality was viewed just as queer or just as taboo as queer homosexuality. The thing is that you had people going to jail for being heterosexual, but they were having sex through fornication. They was having sex for pleasure, not for procreation. Because if you was doing it to procreate, you would get married. Sex was not intended for your beneficial and to be all grand scheme and all that, but you want to be ostracizing to me because I'm queer. Nigga, your motherfucking lifestyle was illegal once upon a time too, nigga. And just like both of our lifestyles is currently, nigga, now what? Get off my back. The stuff you say is illogical. It's not, Your jokes don't align to what's out here. It's imaginative. And I don't live in that fantasy world with you. We're going to keep going. Then there's the historical context, you know what I'm saying? This hierarchy that has been placed between men and women, which it stems to people of wealth. Now, yes, these views has trickled down into, modern society. When you look at what they consider mainstream, right? Yes, it's trickled down to the poor people, but the truth of the matter is poor people. That it trickled down to you as a way of making you feel like you're receiving something. So that way you don't feel like, I don't understand why I'm so oppressed and this nigga's not. This person is living so grand compared to me, yet I'm doing all the work. The cookies and crumbs that you have received, niggas, over this time span has been due to the fact that the rich people want to keep this divide and conquer thing. Let me give a little crumbs to the poor men. You know what I'm saying? We don't give a damn. And then we ain't even talk about all men. We talk about just the poor white ones. Okay. You got to think, Victorian era, 1837 to 1901, when look at slavery. Look at United States history. When they was like, all right, we're going to give voting rights to the poor men, they wasn't talking about all poor men. They wasn't talking about you Mexican folks. They wasn't talking about you black dudes. They wasn't talking about you Native men. They wasn't talking about you Asians. No, they were talking about poor white people because they was like, you know what, poor white people? We need you to feel like you are one of we since we share whiteness. Although you're not one of we because we do not share similar financial backgrounds. You're not as educated as I am. My education was paid upon, by my ancestors, the generations before me. The generations before you has been peasants all their life. We are not equals, but I want you to think that we are equals so that way you do not see the tremendous amount, the plethora of similarities that you share with these poor black people, these poor natives, these poor Mexicans, these poor Latinos, these poor Asians. I don't want you to see those vast similarities between them. And I want you to feel that you are one of us. So here, my fellow white man, here's some crumbs. Feel like you are one of us. So that way I don't have to worry about you banning the other dudes and even get your women on board because I know some of y'all be giving a little leeway to your women every now and then. Okay, remember, man, women, men, women. We don't need you coming together and viewing your wife as equal. So you like, babe, these poor white people, they oppressing both of us. These rich white people, they oppressing both of us, babe. We need to go. Okay, well, we need to go tell Billy Bob, our cousin. Okay, well, Billy Bob, you need to go tell your son, and they can. And then the words start to get down, and now all of a sudden, it done got down to the niggas that's the sharecroppers that's black. It done got down to the indentured servants that are every other race that ain't black. And now you got a band of niggas coming for the rich folk. They don't want that. So what they do? Hand you crumbs. Make you think that there's these divisions, even though they don't exist because everything that exists in what we know society as it to be now benefits what? Capitalism. If you don't have anything to capitalize, nigga, we not talking about you. You're not included in this. The people fail to realize because of the fact that they don't, like I said, they fail to realize that they're the ones that are hindered by this. They think that these cookies and crumbs actually benefits them when in fact it just causes, it's a divisive tactic, right? And they overlook the fact that this starts to cause identity issues. And then the crazy part about it is that you got these hypocrisies. These hypocrites out here that want to sit here and talk about, hey, queer person, you got an identity issue. You got a gender identity issue. Well, what about you poor niggas who think y'all rich? What about you black people who think you're white? The white people who think they're black? The people who are passing as everything in between? What about the uneducated niggas pushing off this persona, pushing off this persona that they're educated? What about the uneducated niggas trying to act dumb so they can fit in? You got a bunch of people doing this. Everybody got an identity issue, because at the end of the day, when you feel that you have been left out, ostracized, you know what I'm saying? At some point, you're going to be like, damn, I need to come up for air. And when you get that little bit of air, you just might end up being the same, oppressor that oppressed you. People overlook the fact that these identity issues have been established through unequal power structures. It goes back to classism, even racism. People think like racism just it's always been here. No, racism started out as an idea. It literally started out as an idea. What was here before racism was classism. It was niggas that was like, yo, we need to convince people, we need to justify our inhumane treatment, and we need to convince other people that this inhumane treatment is not inhumane, and it's in fact humane, and it benefits them. We need to convince them that. So then now you got these people that's like, okay, well, let's come up with all these divisive tactics. We're going to come up with racism. We're going to come up with sexism. We're going to come up with ableism. We're going to be motherfucking ostracizing to people who got disabilities, that's born with different ailments and illnesses. And then we're going to develop this, you don't have an education because systemically I have, systemically and systematically I have made it to where you didn't acquire an education. I'm going to add that in there too. We're going to ostracize you. We're going to leave you out because you don't have something that I made sure you didn't have. It's unequal power structures that led to this. Even the divisiveness that exists between black and women. Yes, it's them with women and men. Okay, yeah, white men was ruling their white women because of the historical context to it. You had rich people. I mean, come on. You had people literally create these rules so that way it benefits them. If I was a dude, of course I would come out here and be like, yes, women are beneath me. So that way, when I get with a woman, or if I eliminate competition with my sister. If I just so happen to be that one dude born in a family of a bunch of sisters, nigga, I ain't got to compete with y'all. I don't got to marry nobody. I'm a dude. Skip all that. And that's all these divisive tactics are. These unfair power structures. It's to ensure that there is no competition. It's just, get out of here. I already won just from existing. And so, and the sad part about it is that you got these oppressed people, like black people, like natives, like Indians, like Asians, you know what I'm saying? Like natives. You got all these other oppressed people that's like, I've been in this sense of inferiority, but I want what that nigga has. And it just so happened to be a white person who has something that they will never accomplish nor achieve based solely on the fact that they're what? White. Because yes, money is involved and it plays a major role, but there's intersectionality. There's always intersectionality. I'm a woman, but I'm still black. There's some things that I go through as a black person, but there's things that's added on to the stuff that I go through as a black person solely because I'm a woman. So when you add black and woman together, bro, that yoke gets a little bit heavy, you know what I'm saying? That burden gets a little heavy. And then, she gay. She married to a woman. Oh my goodness, she's a part of this motherfucking sexual identity that is not the norm. Nigga, we gonna throw all that on there. My back is all, like, I literally, the only thing helping me bear the weight in this world, bear the burden, is Jesus. There's not a crutch existing that can help me bear the weight. You know what I'm saying? Except Jesus. But that's what life is there's this intersectionality. But when you at the bottom for so long, you know what I'm saying? You want to motherfucking make yourself feel good by putting other people at the bottom, especially people at the bottom that you presume to have contributed to you being down there. So when it comes to the black and the black men and the black women divide, like, yeah, I hate the conversation just as much as the next person. However, it is something that needs to be talked about because it's something that is experienced on both sides within our community. There is a black woman and black male divide. And honestly, I'm tired of it because in addition to this to be honest, I love black men. I love black dudes. It's just some of y'all with your weak mentality, y'all niggas I could do without for sure. Some of y'all I could do without. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all sit here and y'all help push the same racial narratives that you were trying to get away from. It don't make no sense. But the thing is, I can't blame you. I'm not mad at you. Because what you niggas are doing now in 2023, these niggas was doing in the late 1800s. The black activists, the black male activists back then, yeah, they was pushing up. They was causing restriction or friction with the black female activists. I'm telling you, I don't got the book in here with me right now. Stand from the beginning, The Racist Ideas in America by Ibram X. Kendi. He break it down. Sojourner Truth said it. Sojourner Truth said it. While she's sitting here fighting for her equal rights to exist in this world, you got black and white men fighting to rule women. You had black male activists that were sitting out here like, look, I even took notes for you guys. I took notes for you. It was stated by black male activists in 1864 at the National Convention of Colored Citizens in Syracuse. It was stated, we have been denied ownership of our bodies, our wives, our children, and the products of our labor. It said that black and white men were trying to assert their right to rule women, while women like Sojourner Truth and white women like Susan B. Anthony was trying to get equal rights just to mother freaking exist. The whole time they fight for this, you got men trying to fight to rule them. Why? Well, to eliminate competition. Nigga, I don't have to compete with you. You know what I'm saying? If you're not even viewed as competition, which is the same mother freaking tactics that was put into place to eliminate the competition between the black man and the white man and the Asian man, the white man and the Native American man, the white man and the Mexican man, and so on and so forth. It's the same mother freaking garbage. It's like somebody took it out of one garbage and threw it in a whole nother dumpster. Like, it's the same trash, nigga. It's the same trash. You have black male activists that want to compare their masculinity to white men. They want to say, well, I want what the white man has. The white man is able to rule over their wife. That you literally had black men back then in the 1800s, even now, comparing their masculinity to white men. Nigga, what? What sense does that make? You're comparing something to someone else that it was never even created for you to fit. Like, you weren't even to exist in here. When black people as a whole was looked as equal, where black men and black women were working those fields right along each other. It ain't like black men was the only slaves out here now. You even had children. My daddy was a sharecropper, nigga. You had mother freaking women and children equal to black men working these plantations. These niggas didn't give a dang about you. They kept passing legislation that made you equally to women and children who are black. They kept passing legislation to make you seem less human. Black men equivalently were viewed as chattel, like black women and their babies. You didn't even need a black man to make a baby with that black woman in order for her and her children to be subjected to mother freaking slavery. So it's crazy that y'all think that there's a hierarchy. Nigga, stop it. You're trying to get something that it doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't created to benefit you. Like, this hierarchy does not exist for you. And you just fighting. You know what I'm saying? You're going up you're dying, going up this one hill that you should just like slide to the bottom and just do your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, culturally, we different. These niggas just came up with this stuff so they can be empowered. They oppress their women. They oppress their children. They oppress their mama, their daddy, their family. Nigga, they'll sell their own soul for $1. You want that? You're crazy. This divide that exists between black women and black men, it exists. The foundation is built on this instability that's rooted in racism. I mean, you got white people who came up with calling black men Bucks and Uncle Toms. Please don't tell me you niggas forgot Bucks and Uncle Toms. Bucks was the hypersexualized black man, equivalent to the black woman, the Jezebel, hypersexualized black woman. Then you got the Uncle Tom, the one that they tried to paint as so docile. He's weak. He's there to save white people. He just loves white people. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to resist white people. And then they misconstrued this concept because Uncle Tom, the original Uncle Tom, and I'll show y'all this. Let me do it for you. But the original character, it says, was an obedient, loyal, non-complaining slave, but he was not weak nor docile. He gave his life to help 2 women runaways. Women runaways ain't white. Women runaways is black women. This nigga would rather give his life to help 2 black women runaways. But you got black men out here who wants to sit here and push this, Uncle Tom narrative, soft, docile. Whole time nigga ain't even soft and docile. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of like, he's this weak nigga because he cares about women. Like, nigga, Uncle Tom was fighting white people to save black people. But you got white people that wanted to misconstrue the narrative of who Uncle Tom was, and they want to push this weak, docile. You know what I'm saying? He loves white people. He will fight for white women, white men, white children. He don't give a thing about you black people. No, that's not. He was sweet in the sense of like, yeah, he was obedient to his, you know what I'm saying? He was loyal to his slave master, but not loyal in the sense that he would turn against his own morals, his own self, his own people. If he saw that's how he viewed. He said, I would rather stay in this position to help other people and free them from theirs than to free myself from this predicament and doom others to their demise. That is Uncle Tom. But you got niggas who want to misconstrue stuff and push the white people, you know what I'm saying? The racist white people narrative of who Uncle Tom is. And then they want to sit here and tell you who black women are. They want to sit here. I mean, look at the mammy. The mammy is the same lady. The mammy is the same lady. It's this lady who is asexual. All she cares about is taking care of white people and their children. She's kind to white people. Then you got the Jezebel. We already talked about Jezebel, equal to Buck for black people. They're hypersexualized. They're this sex toy, this sexual deviant. All they are is sex. It's how we paint Meg the Stallion. And it's how we paint a lot of our black women who do seem to be a little bit more showy with their skin. We're quick to paint them with this racist caricature. We want to paint them as a Jezebel. That's how Ciara was recently painted. We're walking around with her, nude outfit. And then they want to paint her husband, Russell Wilson, as a motherfucking Uncle Tom. As the distorted version of who Uncle Tom is. I mean, make it make sense, bro. But black people, we want to motherfucking push away and strip ourselves from this racist rhetoric that's constantly being pushed out and all this other stuff. But yet, we motherfucking reinforce the same garbage. Like, make it make sense. I really don't understand it. I really don't understand it. And then you got the people who want to use the Bible to control people. Not just women, but all people. I mean, we seen it. During slavery, they used it to control black people because they figured if we could make them, in a sense, docile, we make them less violent, we make them more spiritual, that they'll be least likely to fight. But the thing is that you got to read the Bible in all its entirety, because yes, although there are scriptures in the New or the Old Testament that says to listen to your slave masters and stuff, because God knew that you was going to be enslaved. He said, don't do it as unto them. You're doing it unto me. You are, respecting them in a sense, but you're doing it for me, not for them, because these niggas are going to be punished. They will be punished. Trust and believe. The Bible says that all will be held accountable for their deeds. That includes slave masters. So he was like, for less friction on you, you know what I'm saying? When you work unto these slaves, do it as you do unto me. Think of it as you doing it to me. So that way you are able to navigate through this life and live without, all this hell. Because niggas is gonna, we see, you put up a fight. Those that go against the norm, they go through. I can attest to it. I'm not the conformative type, but I went through hell and high water and still going through hell and high water because I'm not the conformative type. It's okay. But the Bible also says, follow peace with all men, if possible. Yes, he wants us to walk and to be able to fellowship around, because he knows that we're surrounded by people who are our enemies, who don't rock with us. Jesus knows. But he's like, live in peace with people, if possible. If you feel that you have to handle yourself, then handle yourself. But remember, you're going to have to talk to me afterwards. You think Abraham wasn't out here? Abraham went and towed some butts up. He went and slayed some niggas to save his nephew, Lot. Abraham is presumed to be in heaven. So you got people who want to misconstrue the Bible, but if you don't read the Bible for yourself, it is easy because, like the Bible says, for my people perish for lack of knowledge. It's literally ignorance that's taking us out, bro. It's literally ignorance that's taking us out. And when you are ignorant, people can convince you to do anything because you don't know no better. You don't know no different. That's why it's best to educate yourself. People want to sit here and push mislogic. And if you don't know, like I said, they will lie to you. People done it. They done took from the Bible. You know what I'm saying? They done added to the Bible. In the Bible, Jesus said it. He said, do not add nor take from my word. But people has done it. And then they want to misconstrue stuff. We hear it all the time. Going back to this divide where the black man ideally wants this power equivalent to the white man over his family, his own body, his wives, children, his communities. We've seen it. That's why I continue to direct y'all back to Stand from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. It's in that Bible. But they sit here and they push this logic, and you hear it all the time. Black dudes who are single, ain't married to a soul, they'll tell randomly talking about women are supposed to submit to men. And I crack up laughing every time I hear this garbage, because it's like, if I was to ask you, do you follow Jesus as your Lord and Savior? 9 times out of 10, these people do not. A lot of these dudes, they either atheists, they mother freaking Muslim, they everything but Christian. And then you got some Christians who even say this. But this is why I tell you, there's a difference. There's those who hearts are tailored after Jesus, and there's these so-called Christians, aka Pharisees, aka religious folk. Jesus talked about these people. They're religious. Their hearts is far from Jesus. They're religious. They're religious because it can control you and they want power. However, you have people sit here, these dudes will sit here and talk about how a man is supposed to usurp authority over a woman, right? And then they say that the women are supposed to submit to men. Well, I love busting, bubbles here. But the truth of the matter is that the Bible says in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22, it says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, and as unto the Lord. Wives, submit yourself unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. Nowhere in the Bible does it say women submit unto men. Nowhere. It says to your own husband, wife. You dudes ain't married to all these women out here, but y'all want all these women submitting to you. Marry them. And according to law, you can only marry one at a time. At least in the United States. I don't know about nobody else. Wives, submit unto your own husband as unto the Lord, not random women. And then dudes who quote this scripture and do not quote it right, which makes sense, is because they skip the later part where it says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself. If you know what love is, you ain't going to oppress your wife. You're not going to put yokes and strongholds and burdens on your wife and push her to this inferior position to you because you love her. You wouldn't do it to yourself. And then later said, so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. Would you subject yourself to inferiority? It also says that he that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man has ever hated himself, his own flesh, but nourished and cherished it, even as the Lord has done the church. Would you oppress yourself, brothers? Would you make yourself inferior? Would you make yourself second to something or something else or someone else? So why do you want to do it to women or your presumed spouse? I want to understand this. I really do. And then we fast forward and we realize that these same oppressive ideologies is what develop heteronormativity. Which heteronormativity is basically, it's the concept that heterosexuality is the norm, state of sexual orientation. So that means that relationships is always with a man and a woman. It assumes gender binary, there's opposing genders, man, woman, girl, boy. Heteronormativity also often leads to motherfucker heterosexism, which is this like superiority of heterosexuality, and homophobia. Heteronormativity, it assigns gender roles. There's this male versus female concept, even when it's shared within the same sex, like relationships. It's like mind blowing to me because constantly I'm asked, or even my wife, who's the man and the woman in the relationship? Even though there's two women, who's the man and the woman? Oh, don't get me started. We gonna get there. But when we also look at it, especially when it comes to Black culture, because see, I can't really speak too much on cultures that's outside of the ones I have access to. You know what I'm saying? I could speak to it from an education standpoint because I mostly read about it. Occasionally I'll, step into that space. But most of the time I am submerged in Blackness, in Black communities. And I noticed that when it comes to like our culture, it's definitely founded by intersectionality of street culture and white male dominant culture, because there's this appeal that I want to be like the white man. However, I know that the tactics that the white man take, I more than likely won't be able to utilize those to get where I'm trying to get, especially with everything that's against me. So I'm going to go this different route, which leads to street culture. And then there's this masculinity that is developed through street culture. And it's conceived from the resistance to the global war. It's resulted in poverty, having little access to anything, especially achieving the American dream. It's lost traditional manhood, and men are trying to make it to where they are able to provide not only for themselves, but for their families and their households. But the thing is that there's a sense of control. And that's the part that makes it muddy, control. Because when you look at society, we don't want to be functioning, do no dictatorship, but that's a lot of what it looks like in people's intimate relationships. And that's how I feel like people be trying to interact with me out in the world when they're like, oh, they try to put me in these boxes, right? They try to paint me with these broad strokes and try to describe who I am out of ignorance. out of lack of access or interaction with other people. And that's what I come across, these black dudes who want to come at me, because when I assert myself, when I speak the way that I do, and not all black dudes, however, it does seem like it's a lot of them, because it seems to be like I come in contact with a lot of these weak mentality males. It's sometimes it feels like it's rare when I come across a like man that is like tailored after God. He is protective. He is kind. He also knows how to assert himself, intelligent, strong, can protect, but also knows that strength is also in mercy. You don't have to just be out here obliterating everybody. You don't have to be cruel, insulting people. But I tend to come in contact a lot with the guys that's on the opposite end of that spectrum. They always want to insult. They want to put themselves up by putting me down. They want to paint me this loud black woman, this argumentative woman, this black woman that emasculates black men because of how I carry myself, overlooking the fact that the tiara that exists before them was constructed by men. Jesus knew me before I formed in my mother's womb. He allowed me to be born into my mom's womb and come from my daddy. When I came out of my mama's womb, my dad is the reason why I am the way that I am. He is the reason why I could sit here and speak to whomever with authority. It doesn't matter who I stand before, man or woman, rich or poor. My daddy ensured that this was there. And the crazy part about it is that my daddy even taught me self-defense growing up. He taught me how to shoot a gun. He taught me how to fight. He taught me how to defend myself, because I'll never forget the lessons that my daddy taught me. He said, T, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be here forever. And you need to know how to defend yourself, just in case you come across one of these pig-headed, nappy-headed niggas that want to call themselves putting their hands on you or disrespecting you. And this was around the same time that my dad and my uncle was constantly being called by my female cousins to come save them from their abusive boyfriends. Their abusive baby daddies literally was putting my cousins' heads through walls. And my dad was like, T, I ain't gonna be doing this for the rest of my life, because I'm exhausting, a lot of energy doing it now. And my dad is 30 years older than me. And my cousins, I'm just 30 years old. My cousins is pushing 40 and well in their 40s. You see what I'm saying? These cousins that was getting beat on by their boyfriends had me by at least a decade. So I knew by the time that I got to the age of dating, which was within this past 10 years, my dad was 50. You see what I'm saying? Versus defending my cousins in his 30s and 40s. His 20s, 30s, and 40s. You see? And so my daddy, he was like, T, you need to know how to protect yourself. He used to tell me, don't you let no man talk to you any your kind of way. It's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. However, he always said, don't you allow nobody within your space, your proximity. Once they start passing that threshold, you handle it. My daddy did that. He put me in self-defense classes, boxing, taekwondo, and every class that I have been a part of was heavily dominated by dudes. So when I'm out here sparring, when I'm competing in competitions, a lot of times it was against males, not so much females. When I had to spar females, I usually had to, especially when it came to taekwondo, I would have to spar females that was 3+ belts higher than me, because there weren't that many females in these fields. It was my daddy and my uncles coming around also teaching me. My uncle was telling me, he done taught me some dirty stuff. I tell you that. I ain't gonna sit here and tell you what he taught me. But my uncles, they put me on. And I have brothers, you know what I'm saying, that have contributed, They contributed to some of the bad, but they've also contributed to a lot of the good. And the person that I am now, this assertive, dominant, the same thing that most of these dudes want to complain about, this independent woman and blah, blah, blah. This exists because of men. My daddy, my uncle. preparing me to ensure that I am able to take care of myself against males when they are not able to. But these are the weak men that I seem to come in contact with, that they want to not only control and treat women like garbage, but they also want to control and treat other men like garbage who they feel are presenting feminine traits. I mean, it's so ignorant to the point where people, you can't even see a dude with long eyelashes before they girl. People can't even see a child, a little boy with long hair, or a little girl bald-headed, talking about the opposite, because these paradigms that exist in their mind that keeps them limited because they continuously try to put people in boxes. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. But they also attempt to emasculate, like I said, men who they presume to be outside of masculinity, these men that they presume to be more feminine. And that's when we lead into this hegemonic type of masculinity, where it's this overarching ideal of heterosexuality. It's this exaggerated sense of heterosexuality. It's like you got to make it so obviously known that you're heterosexual. It's annoying. Then there's the male competitiveness. I mean, we've already established this. They want to eliminate competition as best as they could. So you see what I'm saying? Because there's always this competitive state to it, in addition to the fact of hypersexuality, which is very, very common in westernized countries. This is westernized country, like, culture. I mean, there's the subordination of women by men, and then there's also the subordination of men by men, who they presume to be mother-freaking feminine. It's wild. And lastly, I want to cover some of these myths and truths, because this is, like I said earlier, this is some things that I've heard been mentioned several times to myself, where, like I said, I've had people come at me and literally call me names, like call me things outside of, niggas want to paint me as a lesbian, right? Now, physically, I look amazing. You know what I'm saying? I go to the gym. I take, honor in my physique, and I strive to look as best as I could, And I want to be as strong as I could, and all that takes into it. And so doing so, I've developed muscles. Now, I've come across some weak men and weak women. That's why I said it's a weak mentality. But I've come across these weak individuals who would sit here and motherfreaking try to paint me as a dude because my physical stature. Then they're like, oh, well, she's in a same-sex relationship. In addition to the fact that she's never had sex with a man. And people want to, and people do. They really try to establish who you are based on your status of who you are based on who you had sex with or who you did not. So men and women who are virgins are usually presumed to be gay. It's crazy. They're also viewed to be unstable. Now, there is, again, a duplicitous meaning to it. It's very dichotomous, however. There's you're a virgin, especially with a woman, you're innocent, you're pure, you're modest, you're worthy of protection and all this other stuff, right? You're worthy of respect. But then, in the same breath, they demonize what opposes her. The sexual deviant, the one that is promiscuous, that has bodies and whatnot. But then at the same breath, dudes want the innocent, non-sexually tainted girl. They want the virgin. But at the same time, they want to be out here getting their penis wet. How are you going to be out here getting your penis wet if you still want to push this all female need to be a certain way. And then it's just like, you caused them to be gross and tainted, because we've seen it historically where women will be pushed as like basically presumed to be filth because of the fact that whether they had sex consensually or they were raped. They were viewed as like marked, dirtied, tampered. And so it changed the whole outlook of their life, which there's a lot of negative stigmatization that comes with sexual deviance and promiscuity, especially as a woman. But then it's praised on the opposite side when you look at men, where men are praised for having multiple notches on their belts. Men are praised for having a healthy, I don't even want to say healthy because it's not healthy, but a hyper like appetite when it comes to sex. They're praised for it. And what I don't understand is like, how do you want it both ways? Excuse me. My freaking Carmex. But you can't have it both ways. You want these innocent, pure virgins, but at the same time, you want an experienced woman, one with limited bodies that has this picture perfect, story that pleases just you. Which there's not that many people out here that got that picture perfect life. But that's what you want. At the same time, you demonize, men who save themselves as if women just want to be subjected with this guy that's tainted. And then you convince yourself that society believes that women wants this sexually experienced guy. To me, I just think of like, damn, the more sex he had, the nigga probably had a lot of STDs, because I'm telling you, it's one of them things. They run neck and neck, The risks are high. So the more bodies you had, I just assume that increases the probabilities that you had it at some point. At least gonna get it at some point. But that's just me. But you got people that's like, yeah, women want to be subjected to this raggedy dude. And what I don't understand is, like I said, people want to base people's status on their sex life or lack thereof. You're an untrustworthy man if you're a virgin. They presume you to be like a serial killer or a serial rapist. It's never really presumed that some murderous man or some, heavily raping guy is out here, has, a sexual appetite. He had a couple of bodies, he's attractive and all that. They always assume that it's just some ugly some ugly individual who hasn't had any sex and stuff. And it's like, there's too many women out here and men who has experienced men who are attractive with a plethora of bodies under them, that has dealt with some psychos. But these are the misconstrued views that we apply to society. I mean, I've heard it all the time, even when I was in the military. I've always viewed myself growing up as bisexual. I've had the same feelings for females as I had with dudes. I've even dated a couple of guys in my life. I don't really count them because they were like prior to 16, but I've had interest in guys. It's just the type of person that I am. One, I can't just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, back then I could be like, we boyfriend and girlfriend, but in my mind, it's just like, we just existing. Like, this ain't real. And that's exactly how I feel. Like, it's not real. But I would think back, like, dang, if this guy took the time out to actually talk to me, get to know me and stuff, maybe, probably would have, set something off in the future. Because the crazy part about it is that some of these dudes try to circle back around, like, yo, T, yeah, nigga, I know I done grew into myself. Get the freak out of here. Nah. You ain't think about circling around prior to me getting married. Circling around now, nigga, I'm married. They don't even respect that. And when I say they, there's these weak-minded people. They don't even respect the fact that I'm in a marriage because I'm in a same-sex marriage. I've had, in the military, it's crazy. I wasn't even married. Me and my wife was dating. And this guy, I'll never forget this dude. I almost gave all his information. But this dude, he came up randomly to me and my wife. We was walking one day. I think it was like trying to get on the green line. We was in Okinawa, Japan. We was either going to Chow Hall or something. But this nigga walked up to us while we was sitting at the bus stop. And this nigga was like, yo, can I get a threesome? Because he heard that me and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, were together. And this nigga immediately asked for a threesome. And I'm just like, I don't even know him. Like, you know him? She didn't know him. Like, we seen him around. We knew of the nigga. You know what I'm saying? I actually thought he was cute at one point. But when he said that, it just went. Yeah. To be fair, he was actually one of the most attractive males on that motherfucking base, Camp Courtney. But that nigga ruined it. My wife even thought he was attractive, you know what I'm saying? But niggas ruined it for himself, because he was like, can I get a threesome? It's just like, how would you feel if somebody walked up to your girlfriend and asked her for a threesome? Especially a dude. See what I'm saying? Don't just take your brain to a woman, because women ain't just going to be, ain't a lot of women out here randomly asking people for threesomes. At least not back in 2012, not that I'm aware of. But this nigga straight up asked us, and I was just like, wow. Then we had several, like, we had this one homie who literally, I kind of figured it in the beginning, but I didn't pay no mind to it, because I was like, well, it's the military, you know, the military life is kind of boring. So you kind of put up with some stuff that you normally wouldn't do just to keep your sanity, you know what I'm saying? So I used to hang out with this nigga, and he was like considered one, you know, like we was considered a trio. It was me, him, and my wife. And before we started dating, we was all friends. And I never felt this dude, like nothing. Like I never even found him attractive. I always looked at him like literally like a brother, like a kinfolk. What made it even worse is that the nigga's name is Christopher Hill. I'm gonna put it out there. Christopher Hill. And this nigga, when I met him, I was like, you're black. Where are you from? He said, Georgia. I'm like, I got family in Georgia. Your last name is what? Hill. I went to several family reunions that had Hill on the back of the family tree. You know, on the back of the t-shirt in the family tree. Nah, bro. Even if I was desperate, I'm not hooking up a cousin. So I always looked at the nigga like family, like not having sex with him. You crazy. So then, you know, time goes. I'm like, I made it known that I'm not interested in this dude. My wife used to call him ugly. Now that's one thing I'll say. I ain't really call him ugly a lot, you know what I'm saying? Well, I did call him ugly because he used to call me some names too, you know? And I look at every now and then call him ugly, but back then I hit it where it hurt. Hit you where it hurt, you know what I'm saying? I ain't even gonna go down there because I ain't that way no more. But I tell you what, I can make you hurt. So that nigga say some junk, and I say some junk. But I always viewed him as cousin. And my wife was just always like, you ugly, you ugly. So me personally, I always thought like, you know, maybe he knows where we stand. Like there will never be a chance between us, you know, me and him, not even my wife. Like I'm a bag her before he gets in here. And so one day, it was like hilarious too. I gotta tell y'all the story. So I ain't even gonna go that far back. But I remember my wife and I, we started dating. And out of respect for him, I'm gonna tell that story in another maybe. But me and my wife we started dating, and we was like, because we always hung out with this guy, and we was known as the trio, you know, we was like, out of respect for him, we should tell him that we're dating, you know, just so that way we don't subject him to being, you know, the third wheel unintentionally on his part, because we would know he the third wheel, but he don't know. So it was like, out of respect for him, let's tell him. And so we make it our business. We go down to his room. We knock on his door. Nigga lets us in. We like, yo, what's up, Hill? We got to talk to you about something. And he's like, oh, all right, what's up, cool? And so we walk in there. And we sit down on the bed. And mind you, so this is the military, so this is barracks, right? The bed lift up like a coffin. You can put stuff in there, pull it down, close it like a coffin. So, mother freaking, we sit on the bed. Me and her sit on the same bed, and we was like, we gotta tell you something. He's all looking at us, all worried and stuff, holding his Xbox controller, and he's just looking at us like, what the freak y'all niggas about to tell me? And we was like, basically, we started dating, and we decided that we should tell you out of respect for you. And he just looked at us like, what? Y'all started dating? And then I was like, yeah, we started dating. My wife not saying nothing. She just looking at this time. She my girlfriend. And he was like, well, he didn't even say, he didn't even ask. He just gave this face like, you just started dating? And I'm like, I confirmed it for him. Like, yeah, we were dating. And you could still see him like processing everything in his head. And he was like, but I thought I was going to get with one of y'all. What? What? That's all I was doing. I was like just laughing. I'm like, what? No, you didn't think he was gonna get with me? Not at all. Not at all. Nah, bro, you tripping. Whole time, me and my wife just sit there. We Google, we giggling and stuff. We was like, the freak this nigga thought. Like, there's no way. Long story short, he was all sad and stuff. He said he needed some time, and we gave him some time, and lo and behold, that was the last time we was friends with the nigga. He stopped dealing with us after that. He ain't want nothing to deal with us. And I was just like, wow, nigga was only our friend because he thought he was going to get with one of us. That's crazy. He probably would have just took both of us. That's crazy. She Louis. That's crazy. Anyways, that's when I realized, like, damn, people are simple. And people are simple. Because I've always viewed myself as bisexual, but it's just like I wasn't feeling dudes then because they was always trying to come up on the sex thing. And it's like there's some females out here that are they just want that sex, that sexual attachment. I don't want that. I could do without that. Stimulate my mind, nigga. You can't stimulate my mind. You ain't stimulating my vagina. It's not happening. We not doing nothing. Nothing. Nadie, nunca. Nothing. So anyways, that's when it really put things into perspective. And then most recently dealing with, and I'm not even going to make mention to these immature individuals except for saying they're immature individuals. They're like children. And the sad part about it is most of these niggas in their 20s and 30s. But I recently dealt with these niggas who, they couldn't really ever say anything about me. They were so pissy with the way that I carry myself, that I assert myself, to the point where they was putting stuff there that wasn't there. They were saying that I was being condescending to them. Even when I'm just talking, it's like, well, I'm going to tell you, you need to read a book if I feel like you need to read a book. It's not being condescending. It's me giving you a recommendation, my nigga. Like, read. I recommend everybody to read, even niggas who do read. Because at the end of the day, you can never go you can never go wrong with knowledge, with increasing your arsenal. God's people perish for lack of knowledge, nigga. Don't y'all want to live? Need some knowledge up there. But anyways, so they'll call me condescending and like, oh, she, and then here it goes with it's a bunch of tropes playing a role, because now there's the woman, there's this, I'm the sapphire woman where I'm emasculating men because I'm making them feel inferior, and I'm making them feel less of a man because I'm telling them that they need to read a book. And then I'm hurting their feelings because I'm not talking to them like they want me to, how they presume their moms. I don't even think these niggas' moms talk to them like this, honestly, but they want me to talk to them like how the Brady Bunch lady mom talked to her kids or something. You better grow some thick skin, nigga. Because the world is tough. Tough like a titty, tough titty, nigga. So anyways, They would sit here and say all this other stuff. And I'm just like, nigga, this is how I talk to everybody. Like, do you know how many judges I stood before and told them niggas they need to pick up a book and read? You are not exempt. Your status don't mean nothing. If I could sit here and tell this to niggas whose status is presumed to be higher than all of ours, what make you think I ain't gonna tell you, nigga? What make you think I ain't gonna tell you? Crazy. But anyways, they want to call me condescending and all this other stuff. And it's just like, okay, well, since you want to deflect your insecurities out there, all right, let me put on my psychologist hat. All right, let's hear you out. What's wrong? What's wrong? And so they just coming out with all these gripes and complaints, but then it always go back to the same thing. Like, oh, she's a man, she's gay, she's this, she's that. And then it's just like, first off, what do me being gay have to do with anything? I'm not a man. Don't want to be a man, you know? So where did that come from? And then it always come back to the same thing, deflecting insecurities. Status is established through sex. We've seen it with Boosie. Boosie got his 11-year-old son and nephews out here having sex with grown prostitutes to establish their manhood. This is a problem. But to weak-minded individuals, your status is established through sex, your genitals, your reproductive system. Right? And so because there is not a man out there who can say factually that he has had sex with me, I'm not worthy of respect, protection. In fact, I'm not even viewed as a woman anymore. I'm now viewed as a man. Now all of a sudden I'm a man. Then you add these extra things to it, right? I got muscles, you know what I'm saying? I got a nice physique that outperforms, outdoes a lot of these dudes that be talking hella smack to me, yeah? The fact that I could sit here and tell them, because they will sit here and say, well, women are naturally weak. And I'm like, hold on. Women are physically weak compared to men. And it's just like, what man are you comparing women to? Are you comparing the average woman to like The Rock? Because, yeah, maybe. But the average woman compared to who you? You either built like motherfucking Shaggy, or you got some of these niggas, they built like they work in the food industry. You know what I'm saying? Not for nothing. But it is a stereotype that most of those guys that be in the back of their chefing be on the heavy end. Live a sedentary lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? So, and then what's crazy is that a lot of these guys literally will sit here and they want to bash women's appearance, especially black women, want to bash our appearance. Ciara is a prime example. Want to bash our appearance, want to motherfucking strip us from our femininity and all this other stuff and make us a man and all this other wild stuff. All this wild stuff. And whole time, dude got more titties than I do, you know? Dude fatter than me, but don't want me to fat shame him. Or maybe niggas got a small penis and they, it could be all types of stuff, because at the end of the day, and I've found the consensus, because the people that I've been around, it's interesting. It's interesting how people will just make up stuff when they ain't got squat to say about you. I've been called broke by a person who knows that I spent thousands of dollars to spend time with them. I ain't even gonna go there. God has blessed me tremendously. Then tried to call me a leech, saying that I was leeching off of my spouse. Now, my brain goes in this direction. How can you presume that I'm a leech? A woman that is married to a man who is a stay-at-home woman is never, I have not ever heard to a woman like that be referred to as a motherfucking leech or mooch or anything of the sort. But then I get caught one. So now I'm like, hold on. You niggas keep saying that my wife is white. Do y'all believe that I'm leeching off of my wife because of the interracial dynamic? I'm a leech because I'm black and you presume her to be white? Or am I a leech because we in a same-sex marriage? Because a woman that you presume to be a stay-at-home woman, you won't call her a leech. Now, in the dynamics of a man to a woman, if there was a stay-at-home dude, it's likely that he be called the leech or mooch, have a lot of negative names. So then it makes me wonder, so is this a play on you calling me a man? Either way, you're trying to insult me. You're trying to call me something that I ain't. You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to figure out my financial situation by throwing little insults out there. But you know I'm not that type of person that's going to play big bank, little bank, because that's not me. That's not me. I don't care if I do have more than you. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But I get called these names, and for what? Because you can't call me a hoe. You can't call me ugly. You can't make up something, and you can't call me bad body. I mean, I went from being called broke to, then they was like, well, I can't call her ugly because a lot of people are attracted to her. So I'm going to call her stink, because can't nobody confirm whether or not she stink. This is the thing that I tell you too. People, when I tell you people will motherfucking grab hold of the first lie that they can just because they don't like you, and they will motherfucking like they'll wave that joke around your head like hell. Like I'm telling you, niggas they'll run Rasha with the lies just because they don't like you. This girl made up a lie and said that I was stank, and these same weak mentality men who can't take me being assertive, who constantly pushes the black racial trope, you know, they always want to make me seem like I'm a sapphire. Check the motherfucking description below. All these links is shared down there. But they want to make it out like I'm this sapphire, this emasculating black woman, or this emasculating black woman who emasculates black men. I'm just loud and belligerent and all this other stuff. They push this rhetoric, and then now they was like, oh, she called her stink. We're going to call her stink. Overlook at the fact that, let me tell you how people will run away with lies. This girl said I took a shower, came out of the shower stank. Mind you, this individual inquired about my motherfucking fragrances, saying that it smelled good and all this. But now all of a sudden I'm stank. I'm chilling with the homies through the camera, you know. In a sense, we like face, you know, is the visual face going, the video. The homies can see this girl sitting on my shoulder to the point where they like, bro, get off of T's shoulder. Like, yeah, you see her all up on me, but I'm stank. Who would want to be all up on somebody that they presume to be stank? Girl slapping me all on my thighs, calling me thick and stuff. I know I look good, baby, and I know you probably want me to come and lick on you, but it's not happening. But this is the things that people say because they're upset because they like you. They enjoy your presence. They enjoy your company, but they can't control you. So they spread lies about you, and they reinforce racial stereotypes and all this other stuff out of this weak mentality because of what? Insecurities. Baby, I'm blessed and highly favored. Trust and believe that. And I look the way I look, all thanks to the Most High God. It is Jesus who is keeping me. You best believe. It's Jesus. It's Jesus, babe. The same Jesus that you want to run and hide from. It's the same Jesus. You better talk to him. If you view me less of a woman because I'm not a notch on somebody's belt, tough titty. If you view me as a motherfucking man because I got more muscles than your daddy, your brother, your boyfriend, if you got one, yourself, Tough titty. Because it's like my daddy always said, treat people's opinions like a load of the rabbit doogie on a frosty morning. You don't pay no mind. That's what you do. You don't pay no mind. But it's this weak mentality that I cannot stand, and we need to divert from it, because we'll never come together. We'll never make, good of the things that we can doing this weirdo stuff. Like at the end of the day, we got to come together, and we have to realize that these divisive tactics that exist between these communities, they exist for what they do, for that exact reason. It's to divide and conquer. That's it. Divide and conquer. Don't believe the myths. Your status is not established by your sexuality. It's not established by who you have sex with. That's the flawed mentality of the world. Be not of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's in Romans, I believe, chapter 12. Do not conform to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's where I'm at. I'm conforming to Jesus, not this world, because this world, the way that it processes everything is flawed. People want to establish your status through your sex, through materialistic things, through possessions. And to me, it's wild, because at the end of the day, you can't take none of this stuff with you. This house that I'm sitting in, I can't take this with me. The vehicles that my wife and I own, we can't take that with us. The side hustles, her job, she can't take that with us. We can't take it. We can't take none of this money that we got saved up. We can't take none of this money that we don't got. We can't take none of it. People need to wake the freak up and realize there's way more to life than what you think. Your mentality is jacked up because you have been programmed by the world's propaganda. You got to be intelligent enough to have some discernment and say, I need to challenge some of these status quos. That's all I'm saying. I know some of y'all probably chimed in thinking that this is going to be a hating men motherfucking space. Take it for what it is. If you want to sit here and make it seem like men created the world, well, then this is towards men, because you created this concept that there is this need of divide and conquer, and that we have to place hierarchies amongst people when we are all equal. The Bible says that God had gave everything on this earth to us humans. It ain't to one specific race, one gender, one capability. It ain't none of that. You are not peculiar in the sense that you better than the next person. Ain't none of us above the next. And you got some niggas out here who think because they can do a little something, because they've accomplished a little something, that they above the next one. No, brother, you actually not special, because just like God gave you that idea, he can go and give somebody else it. Humble yourself. Get rid of your pride and arrogance and humble yourself. Because I'm telling you, life is not the way you think it is. And when your life come to an end, it is not going to go the way you think. Because I know some of y'all out here think there is no hell, there's no heaven. You think you're going to go into heaven, and you in fact are going into hell. Because some of y'all really need to get yourself together. Think about it. Why would you want to spend the rest of the days of your life on this earth wreaking havoc on people, harming yourself? The Bible says that you are to love your neighbors as you love yourself. There's no way you love yourself treating people like garbage. That's how you love you? Get your life in order. Seek Jesus. I'm telling you, he's the only one that can help you, because Jesus be helping me. And if he can help a wretch like me, trust and believe. My righteousness is of filthy rags. I am nobody and nothing. I'm not going to sit here and boast and brag in the accomplishments that the good Lord has gave me. I'm not going to sit here and brag about the things that God has blessed me with, because it is not by my might nor my strength. It is not by my power that I have any of the things that I have, that I've accomplished any of the things that I've accomplished, and that I will have the things that will have, and I will accomplish the things that I will accomplish in the future because of I'm telling you, if it was not for God's grace and mercy, you will know who Tiara is. I'm telling you, you will not know who Tiara is. But I tell you this, I was made in God's image, and I am more than a conqueror. And there is nothing that nobody can say or do to me that is going to deter me from the love of God. You can't block it. You can't stop it. And you can't take me out of where I am in my mind and in my heart, because spiritually I'm intertwined with Jesus. He gave me his spirit. So I know who I am and I know whose I am. You can call me everything you want under the sun, but trust and believe. Hey, the Bible says, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. Every person that has spoken ill, that has done a misdeed, they have been held accountable and they will be held accountable, because the Bible says for every idle word that has came out of your mouth, you will be held accountable. And for every deed, you will be held accountable. You are not exempt. I'm telling you, some of y'all think y'all exempt, but you're not. You're not. And I just wanted to let you know that the world is a lie. Everything about it is a lie. You want to find out who you are, seek Jesus. Learn to know who you are and whose you are. I know who I am and whose I am. And that's why things happen the way it happens. I'll tell y'all this and I'm going to end. After I cut off these individuals, because I'm the type of person, God has brought me a long way, because I've been the type of person, I'll go through some stuff by somebody and I'll just cut them off instantly. I don't waste time for you to do nothing else and hurt my feelings and none of that stuff. None of that. But what I will tell you is that God has taught me patience. He has taught me patience, because the patience that I have now is not the patience that I had then. Trust and believe. The patience that I had then was almost non-existent, to the point where I had to pray every day. I said, Lord, I'm going to need your help, because if you don't help me, I'm going to end up in jail. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody going to take my life. Is God, I'm going to end up somewhere that I should not be. And it took me to call on God and to be aware and to say, like, Lord, I need help. I'm jacked up. I can't do this on my own. I'm quick tempered. I'm not the type that want to talk. You know what I'm saying? I go straight to the actions. This is the old me. But now I can say that I am the person I'm willing to motherfucker talk to a little bit more than I was back then. And then I realized that even when my words don't go nowhere, I don't have to get involved physically, because at the end of the day, the Bible teaches me, tell them whatever it is that you need to tell them. And then dust your hands off, dust your feet off, wash it off afterwards. You ain't got to wear it. How they take it, how they perceive it, that is on them. You don't have to wear that. And when I came to that realization, it made my life so much better. So much more better. Because now I'm understanding that I can say whatever it is that I need to say, or I feel that I need to say, whatever intentions, and however that person take it, I don't have to wear it, because I know what my intentions were. So I say all that to say this: learn who you are and whose you are. And you ain't going to learn that without seeking Jesus. I'm an advocate for Jesus. I'm going to always tell you, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I don't care what nobody tell you. I'm going to be the advocate for Jesus, because I know what he can do. There ain't no other idol has done nothing for me. I can't pray to nothing. I can't ask nothing, nobody for help. But when I call on the name of Jesus, I tell you, he come in right on time. So don't be mistaken. You are not judged. Your status is not depicted by your sexuality. Your status is not depicted by your possessions. It is not by how you look. It ain't got squat to do with vanity or materialistic things. Who you are and your status is in Jesus. And if it ain't in Jesus, then it is in Satan. And I encourage you to get with Jesus, because anything that is mixed with Satan is meant for doom. Get your life in order. and everything else will follow. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added unto you according to God's riches and glory. I love y'all. I truly do. Even the people who have established themselves as my enemy, because I tell you what, I don't establish nobody as my enemy. You establish yourself as my enemy, because the truth of the matter is that I rock with Jesus. If you don't stand with Jesus, you are my enemy. That is what it is. I will continue to show you love, because the Bible says to love even the most difficult person. Jesus says it. He said, how can you sit here and say that you love me whom you never seen and hate who you see every day? And I can sit here and make up all these excuses like, Lord, this person said this about me. Lord, this person said this about me. But Jesus went through the same stuff, and he still loved them, still gave up his own life for them, so that way they may have eternal life. And if Jesus can do it for them, including me, who am I? I'm not above the master. I love y'all. I truly do. I truly do. And you'll see in due time, because this is why when you hurt me, I do everything in my power to not reciprocate, because of the love of Jesus Christ that is within me. And I hope he makes his way to you. God bless. Peace.